Hey everyone, welcome back to Wix Fix. I hope you're having a fantastic day. In today's video, I'm going to be teaching you about how you can use lightboxes inside of your EditorX websites. Let's go ahead and get started. So lightboxes are basically pop-ups that you can put on your website. However, some pop-ups can be a little bit annoying, especially when you first go onto a website and you just get a random pop-up that you don't like. So I highly suggest you don't really use that method, but there are methods of using lightboxes that can be really handy. And before we get into those methods, let's go ahead and show you how you can actually set them up. So what you want to do is come over to the add panel, go out to layout options, and you'll see an option down here for lightboxes. As you can see, there are a few different variations that you can choose from that you can use on your website. For today's video, let's just choose this one right here. And you're going to notice it adds this nice little lightbox to our page, and it also adds an overlay background. If we go ahead and click the lightbox, we can go ahead and set triggers. In this little settings box that you have right here, you can name this little lightbox to be whatever you want. You can have it automatically display the lightbox. If it's set to yes, then you can also choose which pages it appears on. And then you can also set the delay. So let's say a user hops on the home page, and after 2 seconds, this lightbox would appear. But once again, like I said before, having it automatically display can be really annoying to your users, especially if you're not a huge company like, let's say, Target. If Target was to have a pop-up on their website, it probably wouldn't prevent you from shopping there. However, for smaller companies, it can be very distracting and may throw your users off from using your website. So for the most part, I typically like to set this to no. Then if we come over here, we're going to notice a couple more options. We can change the grid layout. So as you can probably tell from this, if you know EditorX, you can see this dotted line down the middle right here. And that's because there is a grid attached, or a grid set in this lightbox. So if we change this, of course, we can change the grid layout here, which if you want to learn more about setting up grids and everything like that, I highly suggest you check out the video about EditorX grids. The link to that will be in the description if you want. But for now, we're just gonna go ahead and press done. Next to that, we're gonna see setup overlay. So overlay is basically this background right here that kind of covers the page. And the only setting in here is basically when someone clicks the overlay and not the lightbox or content inside the lightbox itself, then it will close the lightbox, which this is typically something you want to leave active. But if you want to design it, just click the background, go into the settings or the inspector panel, and you'll be able to change the settings here. So you can change it to a different color, and you can change the opacity, and you can also adjust the padding if you want. So let's just go ahead and lock this little button right here and give this like a 100 pixel padding, which as you can see, it kind of brings in the space where you can put your content right here. However, it's not really useful in this example, so we'll just go ahead and remove it. For the lightbox itself, we're going to notice that by default, it is set to a fixed width and height. If you would like to change this, you can go ahead and set it to a fluid. And let's say you want this to be 60% width. That way it kind of goes wider, and it's going to be responsive depending on which screen size your user is going to be on. However, if you use some of the default lightboxes without changing the content inside of it, something to note is they do not have text scale or scaling text feature enabled on this. So you will have to manually go in and kind of set the scaling text for each one of these elements. And this helps with when it's resizing, it doesn't make the text get all scrunched up too bad. So as you can see, this text is scaling. So the higher we go, the larger the text is. The smaller we go, the smaller the text is. And as you can see, the smaller the desktop size is, this lightbox can seem very squished. So what you can do is set a minimum width. So let's set this to 900 pixels. So that way, when we reach 900 pixels width for this lightbox, it's not going to shrink anymore. That way, it can still get bigger, but it can't get too small. And we can actually do that for max width as well. So if our website is this large, this lightbox can be kind of big to use. So maybe we set like an 1100 pixel maximum, so that way it can't get any bigger than this, but it also can't get any smaller than this. So it's kind of helping you do that. And you can also do that with the height of it as well. So for example, if we set this to viewport width, we can shrink down the size of this lightbox. However, it doesn't look quite right, and it kind of does get a little messed up if you do that. So I highly suggest just leaving the height as is. So two methods that you can use lightboxes that won't be disruptive to your users are going to be one, where you can offer something for them if they subscribe to your newsletter. So you can have a little button that says save 10%, and it opens up a little subscribe pop-up for them to fill out. And then they should receive an email with some sort of coupon or something like that. Another method is like a hamburger menu. So your users can select which pages they're being on without having a long list of pages here in your header. Although I only gave 2 examples for good ways to use them, there are plenty of good ways to use lightboxes without being distracting for your users. So I highly suggest thinking about how you want to use lightboxes and how to do it in a way that's not going to be distracting or disruptive to your users' experience. But that basically wraps it up for the video. If you guys did enjoy, please consider giving this video a like and subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you all again for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.